Everything old is new again. Huge news, Disney Park fans. As I have been reporting and speculating about with you, something has been in the works for Hollywood Studios' Animation Courtyard. And today, Disney finally revealed those plans along with my favorite thing, new concept art, and a surprising amount of information about what to expect. And while, yes, initially my blue sky hopes were for a new attraction in this part of the park, I am not upset about what Disney revealed in the least, and I love that it is a callback to both the park and the company's roots and could anchor Hollywood Studios in a way that it has honestly needed for years. So you were watching probably at Disney, and not only am I going to break down this announcement with you, we're going to dig into the details because there is definitely more than one announcement packed in here. So according to Disney's announcement, all of Hollywood Studios' Animation Courtyard will be reimagined into the Walt Disney Studios, with Star Wars Launch Bay once more becoming the magic of Disney animation, the name of the experience that first occupied this building back in the day, and which housed a branch of Walt Disney Animation responsible for animated films like Lilo and Stitch, Mulan, Brother Bear, Scenes The Lion King, and more. We are going to start with what Disney had to say about this soon-to-be Magic of Disney Animation building and what to expect inside, and then we're going to move on to what to expect from this newly reimagined courtyard. So thanks to concept art and Disney's own surprisingly detailed description, we know the facade of Star Wars Launch Bay will be redesigned to resemble the actual Roy E. Disney Animation Building in Burbank, California, in which Disney noted was the setting of its 2023 Once Upon a Studio short film, and in my opinion, one of the best animated projects in recent memory. In fact, that short is the premise for this building's entire experience because the story, and yes, Disney and Imagineering gave us a story for this, such great news. The story is that animators inside have stepped away from their desks, but the building is now buzzing with activity because the characters have come to life and they're ready to play. So essentially, guests coming to the Magic of Disney Animation are going to live out what happens in Once Upon a Studio, and already I am 100% on board. And if you're familiar with my channel at all, you know that I like to pay special attention to how Disney words things because that's where the real details are. So I'm going to break down what Disney had to say about this experience and what that is likely to mean. First of all, Disney claimed this will be a family experience set in a newly reimagined space. Therefore, I'm assuming the layout will likely be way different than Star Wars Launch Bay and what it has been previously. More on that in just a few minutes. And the fact that it's a family experience suggests this is another way Disney is looking to make this park even more friendly to younger guests. Disney then described the space as allowing guests to interact with and explore silly takes on the iconic Disney Animation headquarters, including many different studio departments, only this time, some characters have taken over. So the mention of studio departments is great because it means more representation of the entire animation process. But clearly it will be hands-on activities and with characters in order to engage kids. Whether that means animatronic characters, I don't know, but in an interview with Variety just recently, Disney was talking about more animatronic characters being on the way, including free-range characters, and I can't think of a better use of that than this character-heavy experience, which happens to be completely indoors and weatherproof. Just throwing that out there. Disney also noted portraits will come to life before your eyes, just like they did in Once Upon a Studio. And this caught my attention because Disney has been doing this for years aboard Disney Cruise Line with its enchanted artwork. And I think we're going to get maybe an updated version of this crowd-pleasing effect. The Disney Parks blog description further described an opportunity for guests to learn to draw character sketches, an experience that actually used to be offered at the Magic of Disney Animation building and would generate really long lines back in the day, and has been offered at Animal Kingdom's Conservation Station in recent years. So I'm glad to see it come back. The Parks blog post also mentioned there will be a short film with a twist. Whether that is a new version of the brief animation focused films that used to be offered here, I don't know, but it kind of sounds like it, and I'm hoping they would serve as a kind of sequel to Once Upon a Studio. Disney also gave a lot of detail about a playground called Drawn to Wonderland, which they said will look like an oversized flower garden with musical instruments, a Mad Tea Party playset, and Tulgey Wood exploration, all inspired by Alice in Wonderland concept art from Disney legend Mary Blair. To me, this sounds like the playground will be pretty big and extensive, and the fact that it will be inside and in air conditioning, that's going to be a huge win for families, and I'm hoping that the oversized nature of it all and that it features these massive flowers may be a little bit of a callback to the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids playground from the park's early days. Here's hoping Disney can work an Easter egg or two into that experience. Finally, and this is also good news, Disney claims the Magic of Disney Animation will host character meet and greets, and a lot of them, which again, being in air conditioning, is a win. Now, with that being said, let's head back outside to talk more about the exterior and the new courtyard. Now, the Magic of Disney Animation building will be maintaining those cylinders, which were a part of the previous Magic of Disney Animation entrance, but will be gaining, in addition to the massive sorcerer's hat, red or burgundy striped patterns around the top of the building. This is actually reflective of what the real animation studio looks like, and I think the burst of color in that pattern will really freshen things up, but also draw guest eye into the courtyard. Much of the building's exterior, however, appears as if it's going to remain the same and will offer that gift shop space once again. However, I'm not sure what all those tiles are intended to be there at the front of the building and also around the entrance to what will be the new Disney Junior show, and I can't tell just how colorful they're expected to be. Now, as for the courtyard at large, which again is now called the Walt Disney Studios, new letter signage with the studio's font will be added over the building for the Little Mermaid show, which will now be known as the Studio Theater, while the Disney Junior show will be housed in what's called the Soundstage. The most obvious change, of course, is this new triangle-shaped green space, which Disney described as an area where guests can play, relax, or snack, and which Disney also teased as saying you never know who you might see playing in the branches, soaking up the sun, or digging in the grass. So clearly Easter eggs and characters will abound here. But I personally loved how much seating that we're gaining and the twinkling lights in the trees after dark, including over by the Disney Junior Soundstage. It's really going to transform the atmosphere of what has previously been a blistering concrete wasteland. One of the biggest changes, however, is the removal of that massive arch that currently leads into the courtyard. The concept art shows it will be completely removed and replaced with a small sign that I assume reads Walt Disney Studios. Now, while I do not like the Hollywood Studios font on the arch as it is now, I'll still be sad to see it go. The arch is part of the park's history, and I love the little details and Easter eggs and park iconography that artists and Imagineers sculpted into it. However, I kind of get it at the same time because moving it is going to open up this corner of the park in a massive way. And I think I'm going to enjoy seeing both the Chinese theater and the studio just across the way from each other. And it's going to convey the Hollywood Studios theme way better than the arch currently does. Now, let's talk dates before we get into some questions that I have about this project. With the exception to the new Little Mermaid show, Disney confirmed Animation Courtyard, Star Wars Launch Bay, and Disney Junior Play and Dance will close on September 25th of this year, meaning the last day to experience them will be September 24th. A new Disney Junior Play and Dance is in the works and will be occupying that soundstage. But the only reopening date we have for this entire new experience in this entire area is sometime in 2026. And I do wonder if they're going to try to time it up with the reopening of Muppets Rock and Roller Coaster. Time and possibly D23 next month will tell. But now let's talk questions, because this announcement raises quite a few. The first being, why did Disney announce this now and before D23 next month? I'm hoping it's because Disney has a lot they want to focus on at D23, and this was already supposed to be revealed in May. And with this now being the third new offering in the works for Hollywood Studios, I'm guessing Disney wanted to address the park as a whole at D23 instead of this single reveal taking up all the oxygen. Another question is how much space the new Magic of Disney Animation is going to take up, because the old part of the animation studio, as Disney recently showed us online, is largely untouched and houses offices, including the office for the Disney Parks blog. So is any of that real estate going to be used for this experience? Or are we just looking at the current footprint as it stands? The answer to that may tell us just how ambitious Disney is going with this project. Also, should we expect the same artwork, furniture, and iconography from the actual studio to be replicated inside this building and to reflect the surroundings of the short? I certainly hope so. Again, that's another thing I'm hoping to learn at D23. But my final question is just how many characters Disney is going to feature in this experience, either in artwork, decor, as part of an activity. For reference, the Once Upon a Studio short included a whopping 543 characters. So I think for Disney fans who appreciated Villains Unfairly Ever After's use of obscure Disney characters in that finale, that was just the beginning. So while this isn't a new ride, I'll still say it's kind of a quasi-attraction land and one of the few new Walt Disney World projects in the works that I honestly feel like is spot on. Animation is foundational to the company and this park, and I love that Disney is going to celebrate that while also letting us be a character in the Once Upon a Studio short film. Furthermore, I like that this area in Magic of Disney Animation is one that all guests can experience at their leisure and without having to wait in queues. Not only did Hollywood Studios really need something like that, but families with young kids really did as well. Of course, I'm going to have so much more to say about this moving forward, and I already have some additional questions and speculation about what this could mean for the park's future as a whole, but I'm going to hold off on sharing that until I can do a little digging. So for now, here's what I want to know. What do you think about this redo for Animation Courtyard in Star Wars Launch Bay? Are you happy about it? Does this live up to your expectations? And do you think something else would have worked better in this space? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed today's video and you too can't get enough of Disney Park news and analysis, I would so appreciate if you would hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. But regardless, thank you for taking the time to watch, and I hope you have a magical day.